Clearly we're not in Munich. Sup guys, it's Yes or No, and I'm reporting to you live after editing without my boo, my boy toy, my Zeman. And you guessed it, it's because we had a terrible fight on the road trip and can no longer speak with each other. No, I'm totally kidding. Oh, he's actually sitting right over there. But don't worry, there will be some Zeman on this video, because essentially what I'm gonna tell you guys is the story of how we broke our car. Oh, wait, okay, but rewind. Not the story of how we broke our car, but how our car broke down on us 3 days into the road trip. Anyway, so where should I start? So essentially, Zeman and I were on our way across Wyoming to get to Yellowstone, right? That was like the ultimate goal. Go to Yellowstone, be one with nature. And we were in the middle of Wyoming, and like, first of all, you guys, I don't know if you've ever been to Wyoming, right? This is a state that literally, we Googled it, has more cattle than it does humans. And half the time we didn't even have like data in order to Google anything, right? Because there's like, pretty much since nobody is living in Wyoming, like there's no cell service. So Zeman was driving, right? And it wasn't a particularly hard road or anything, because we had just gotten off one of the big highways where we were going like 70 or 80, and we were on a road that was maybe like 30, 35 miles per hour. And all of a sudden, the speedometer started going like crazy. Like, just imagine it was flying between 10 miles per hour and 70 miles per hour back and forth. And Zeman's driving this car, and he turns to me and he's like, Taylor, like, do you see what's happening? And I looked over and I'm like, holy hell, I've never seen anything like that before. So Zeman and I decided that essentially we wanted to pull off to the side of the road just to, you know, check on what was happening. So we pulled over to the side of the road, stopped the car, and then it never turned on again, right? And meanwhile, Zeman's like, not having a good day. He was getting like pissed about our car problems, and I actually thought it was really funny because I'm like, oh, this is what you see in every movie. So I pulled out my camera and started filming. Zeman proceeded to get even more pissed at me, but I'm like, we have to do this. And so splice clip to that.
This is not even funny.
So our car basically started going on the fritz, and now we are broken down in the middle of Wyoming. There's Zeman. Zeman is unhappy that I'm filming this. And here's where we are. Yikes. Let's get this figured out.
It's not funny, we're like in the desert.
This is part of the trip. We need to call somebody. Dad? Mom? And now the car won't turn on? Who should we call? What should we do? We're in the middle of Wyoming. And then, so eventually we put the cameras down and we decided that we needed to go search for help. But I mean, you guys have seen the clips. Essentially, there was nobody around us, maybe a few houses. So we started to trek up to one of those houses. And then all of a sudden there was this dog that just like came at us, right? It was like, ruff, ruff, ruff. So Zeman and I were like, yeah, not going to that house, just turned around. We tried to go to the first house for help, and there was a dog. So now we're going elsewhere. When you get lemons...
We're not really far away from the city, apparently.
Hold on, I'm about to make a good quote, baby. When you get lemons, pull a Beyonce and make lemonade. Or just try and get your car fixed. You guys, serious question. How does like the postman do it, right? When he like comes to the door trying to deliver the mail, if this dog's just like yapping at him, like does that house just not get mail? Like, I don't know what happens. So anyway, we started back to the car, and then all of a sudden, like, as if a miracle or something, this farmer comes by on a little four-wheeler, right? Just like this little truck four-wheeler, and asks us, he's like, y'all know what you're doing? I might have given him more of an accent than he had. He was like, do you guys know what you're doing? And we're like, clearly no idea. So that guy driving off in a tractor in the far, far distance, who you can't even see, his name is Alfred, yes?
Yeah.
And he just came out of nowhere from right over here and offered to help us try and fix our car because the towing services are, nobody can get to us in at least an hour. And then, and then the one guy at the repair shop goes to his firefighter meeting in an hour, and well, there's not much happening. It's not much popping where we are, so hopefully we can get this thing up and running again. And so he starts looking at the car, and he's thinking that something might be up with the battery, right? Because it's all like rusted over and stuff. And then all of a sudden, while we're there, like this other guy from town rolls in, and of course Alfred and him know each other, and then he stops by because probably we're like some main event, you know, on this Wyoming road, and he just he essentially watched as we tried to fix our car. He was really nice. I have to say this about the people of Wyoming. Super nice. Yeah, we thought we came prepared for the trip. Oil change, yeah. Gas in tank. But so essentially Alfred and him deduced that, oh, it might be something with your battery. And so I got in the car with Alfred and we went off to get a new battery for the car. Now, we put the battery back in the car, and at this point, we weren't sure if it was the battery or the alternator, right? Because, you know, the alternator charges the battery, right? So it could have been either one. So we thought, okay, if this is an alternator problem, then we only have one charge on this battery, right? So essentially, that charge needed to get us to the next big city before we broke down again, because otherwise we'd be in the same position. But anyway, so we said bye to them, and we had an hour and a half to get to this next town, and we were hoping that our battery would get us all the way there. I wasn't too scared for the first like hour 15, but then at the very end of our drive, you know, pretty much all the parts of our car stopped working. And Z1 could probably explain it better, but it was like at the last 10 minutes, only the manual parts of our car worked. So like if we wanted to turn the steering wheel, we had to like crank it, right? If we wanted the brakes to work, we had to like stomp them, right? It was absurd. And basically our car died pulling onto the lot of the repair shop. And I have never felt luckier, right? Because at the beginning I was all like, haha, this is fun, our car's breaking down, what a road trip thing. And then like at the end I was like, oh my god, we almost died. Like we almost died on the streets trying to get our car to this repair shop. So we were past the hours of this like auto repair shop and when you're allowed to be there / not be there. And so we're like, okay, well, we have to at least explain to somebody, you know, because this wasn't like a normal parking lot with lots of spaces, right? This was like somebody's house that our car had just decided to die in front of, right? And so we're like, okay, we might as well find somebody in the house and tell them like, hey, that's our car, like, don't do it, like, just let it be for the night. Our car's on the other side of that. We just barely didn't die. I don't know how we're doing it right now. There's another dog. Dogs are our downfall. So we start walking around the house, and of course, everybody in freaking Wyoming has a dog, a guard dog. And okay, I know it wasn't that scary. It was like one of those little sausage dogs, not a chihuahua. It had like fur, so it was more like a puffball. But it came running at me like the puffball of death. right? Like a little Cheeto puff just going, rah, 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 rah. And I was like so scared that I backed into the barbed wire fence, and I'm like, oh, hell no. I'm like, I'm not doing this. I almost died just trying to get our car into the parking lot, or Zeman almost died trying to drive us into the parking lot. But then I'm like, I'm not about to die from this dog right now. So we run away, and then the owners of the house come out, like everything gets solved, our car gets fixed the next morning, and then we are off to Yellowstone. Sorry, I just like wrapped that up in a super anticlimactic way for that entire story, but that was our brush with death and broken cars. It did end up being the alternator, by the way, just so you guys know. So we paid maybe about $250 in repairs for that and the new battery. And then we made our way. Then we made our way into Yellowstone. I should show you guys some shots from this. But we made our way into Yellowstone where, have you guys ever been to Yellowstone? Essentially, it's like, oh, it's nature, right? It's lots of trees and lots of wild animals, right? And so all around the Yellowstone Park, there are little signs that say, Yellowstone cannot guarantee your safety, which, oh yeah, is super comforting. But essentially we saw a bear. I don't know, I think it was a grizzly. We saw bison. Oh my god. Simon, baby, that's coming right by our car.
That's just crazy.
Oh my god. There goes the bison. And we bought bear spray because I sure as heck would not go down without a fight. And lordy. Yeah, that's, I'll show you some pictures. Oh, this is dumb.
I have bison food.
Taylor and Zeman possibly making the worst decision yet of their lives. The last decision yet of their lives. But yeah, that's the story of the time Wyoming really tried to kill me. Actually, Wyoming. But I guess the moral of this story is if you're gonna break down anywhere, try to do it in Wyoming. Yeah, so somewhere between Wyoming and Santa Barbara, we've made it here. Somehow we made it from Wyoming to Santa Barbara, is I guess what I'm trying to say. We haven't taken videos of everything, that's true, but if you want to see it, just go check out my Instagram, @YesOrNo. If you want to see no pictures, go check out Zeman's Instagram, Best of Zeman. But anyway, the sun's going to sleep, and so shall we. Especially since we're probably gonna just sleep in a forest somewhere. God, the whole world's trying to kill me. Bye, 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 bye.
No.